Ensure. 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 So, let's talk about the word ensure. It's a verb that means to make something happen or come true. In other words, if you ensure that something is done, it will actually be done. This is different from assure, which means to give someone confidence that something is true. For example, I'll ensure that the package arrives on time, meaning it will definitely arrive, versus I assured her that I would be there, meaning you gave her confidence that you would show up. You can also use ensure in a more general sense to mean taking care of something or making sure it's okay, like I'll ensure my mom is home safely. Just remember, if you're saying you did something to make someone else confident about an outcome, you probably want to use assure. But if you're talking about actually making something happen, ensure is the way to go. To ensure that all guests feel welcome at the hotel, we will have a dedicated staff member on hand to greet them and answer any questions they may have. This sentence demonstrates formal usage, such as in a hotel's customer service policy, where clarity and precision are paramount. In contrast, if you were chatting with a friend about making sure to get to the concert on time, you might say something like, I need to ensure I'm at the venue by 7 p.m. so we can grab good seats. This usage is casual and conversational, implying a sense of shared experience and informality. For example, in a business proposal or academic paper, you might use the phrase, our research team will ensure that all data collected meets the highest standards of quality to convey a sense of rigor and scientific integrity. This usage is formal and technical, emphasizing precision and accuracy. So you're trying to figure out what ensure means? Well, let me help you with that. When we say something ensures something else happens, it's like making a promise or guaranteeing that something will happen. The main characteristic of ensure is that it's about taking steps to make sure something specific happens or exists. For example, if I buy an umbrella to protect myself from the rain, I'm trying to ensure that I stay dry. You might also see similar concepts like guarantee, promise, or pledge used in a similar way. In terms of how it's used, think of it as taking action to make something happen or exist, so you can be confident that it will happen. Exclude. 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 So, let's talk about the word exclude. As a verb, it means to leave out or not include something or someone in an activity, opportunity, or group. In common usage, you'd say, I exclude my sister from this surprise party, or the new rule excludes children under 12 from the concert. Notice how it's often used with nouns like rule, policy, or condition that specify what is not allowed. Also, keep in mind that when we use exclude to mean leave out, it can sometimes sound similar to include. But think of it this way. If someone or something is included, they're part of the group. If they're excluded, they're left out. In formal usage, you might say, the university's admissions committee decided to exclude applicants who had previously been convicted of a felony from the student body in order to maintain a safe and stable learning environment. This sentence uses exclude to convey that certain individuals are being left out or barred from participating due to specific criteria. In casual conversation, you might say, I'm going to exclude pizza from my dinner plans tonight because I had too much of it over the weekend and I need to watch what I eat. Here, exclude is used in a more everyday context to indicate that something, in this case, eating pizza, will not be included or considered as part of a particular plan. In business or academic usage, you might say, the research team's findings were excluded from the overall study because they were found to have methodological flaws. In this example, exclude is used in an objective, scientific context to indicate that certain data or results are being left out or omitted due to validity concerns. So you're trying to figure out what exclude means. Don't worry, I'm here to help. To put it simply, when we say something is excluded, we mean that it's left out or not included in a particular group, list, or activity. It's like when someone says, the new policy doesn't apply to weekends, the weekend days are being left out. Right? The main characteristic of excluding something is that it's not part of what's happening or what's being considered. It's kind of similar to words like omit and dismiss, which also mean leaving something behind. When we use exclude in a sentence, we're usually talking about a specific situation where someone or something isn't included. So you might say, the new rule excludes people under 18 from voting. Framework. 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 So, let's talk about the word framework. The part of speech is noun, which means it refers to an abstract concept rather than a physical object. In everyday usage, people often use the term framework to describe a set of principles, rules, or guidelines that provide a structure for achieving something, whether it's a business plan, a project timeline, or even a social movement. For example, you might say, the new management team has provided a clear framework for decision-making. The key point is that a framework gives direction and helps people work together towards a common goal. It's worth noting that the term framework can sometimes be used interchangeably with structure. But technically, a structure refers to something more tangible, like a physical building or a database system, whereas a framework implies a bit more abstract and flexible concept. Here are 3 examples of sentences using the word framework with different tones and contexts. In a formal university setting, Professor Thompson used the phrase, "The new curriculum will be implemented within a rigorous framework of learning objectives and assessment criteria," to convey the structured approach to education that her institution was adopting. Meanwhile, in a casual conversation at a coffee shop, Sarah mentioned, "We finally have a solid framework for planning our next music festival, so we can start booking artists and vendors," to highlight the progress she and her team had made on organizing their event. In a business meeting, Mark said, "Our company will be adopting a digital-first marketing strategy with a clear framework of social media engagement and email campaigns," to outline his plan for expanding their brand's online presence. So, you want to know about this thing that helps people organize and structure their thoughts and ideas? Okay, imagine having a set of guidelines or rules that give shape and direction to a project, a process, or even a whole system. This set of guidelines is like a mental or conceptual outline that shows how different parts fit together and how they relate to each other. It helps people think about what's most important, what needs attention first, and how to move forward in a way that makes sense. Some people also call it a structure or an architecture. But the idea is the same. It gives you a clear picture of how things work together.